From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with a JBS News Features edition for Wednesday, July the 4th, 2018. Israel yesterday held a ceremony remembering its fallen soldiers in Operation Protective Edge, the war with terror group Hamas in Gaza in 2014. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the memorial, saying that Hamas failed to realize one of its main objectives in 2014, which was to, quote, isolate Israel on the international stage. The Prime Minister said not only has that not happened, but the exact opposite has happened. He said even the Arab states, or leading states in the Arab world, identified with our position, and I have reason to believe that today this is doubly so. Referring to the recent escalation at the Gaza border fence, Netanyahu said he urged Hamas to choose calm. If they choose escalation, he said, the price they pay will be unbearable to them. Israel's President Reuven Rivlin also addressed the ceremony, saying that if Hamas wants to see the life of Gazans improve, they must do their part. Rivlin said Israel was and has remained the only actor in the region that conveys basic staples for the welfare of the residents of Gaza. And he said as long as Hamas administers Gaza with an eye only to destroying the state of Israel and attacking its citizens, and continues to hold the bodies of our soldiers, Gaza won't be rehabilitated, referring there to the remains of Hadar Golden and Oron Shaul, who were killed during Operation Protective Edge. Earlier this week, Golden's brother expressed concern that the return of the remains would not be a factor in reported indirect negotiations with Hamas about Gaza rehabilitation. He said humanitarian action cannot be unilateral. For the first time, an Israeli has been chosen to chair the United Nations Human Rights Committee. Yuval Shani, who is deputy president of the Israel Democracy Institute and a law professor at Hebrew University, has been a member of the committee since 2013. He will now lead it. The UN Human Rights Committee, not to be confused with the UN Human Rights Council, is made up of independent experts who monitor the implementation of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Mexico City has elected its first Jewish mayor. 56-year-old Claudia Sheinbaum is also the city's first woman elected to the post. Sheinbaum is an environmental engineer who jointly received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2007 as a member of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Mexico City is home to almost all of Mexico's 40,000 Jews. A memorial plaque was dedicated this week to acclaimed author, Holocaust survivor, and Nobel Prize laureate Elie Wiesel. The plaque was unveiled on Monday at Jerusalem's chamber of the Holocaust Museum on Mount Zion, 2 years since Elie Wiesel's death on July the 2nd of 2016. Israeli officials attending the ceremony included Minister of Jerusalem Affairs Ze'ev Elkin, who said of Wiesel, his words touched the very soul of the Jewish people. The plaque was a joint initiative by Limud FSU, the Conference for Material Claims Against Germany, and the March of the Living organization. Turning now to some sports news, Israeli tennis star Dudi Sela lost in the first round at Wimbledon yesterday, beat out by the #1 ranked tennis player in the world, Rafael Nadal. And a delegation of Arab Israeli and Jewish Israeli teenagers from the Paris Center for Peace held workshops and soccer training this week on the sidelines of the World Cup. The teens are in Moscow this week teaching their peers from Qatar, Iraq, and Tunisia how they promote peace and dialogue through their shared love of the sport. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, July the 4th, some special programming for Independence Day. At 7 o'clock, Swarthmore professor Richard Rubin discusses what makes the American Jewish community so special from the JCC of Midwestchester in Scarsdale, New York. At 8, a discussion of President George Washington's 1790 iconic letter to the Jewish community of Newport, Rhode Island. At 9 o'clock, Mark Golub sits down with American Jewish history professor Dr. Jeffrey Gurak on the Chaim. At 10 o'clock, a concert with world-renowned cantor Joseph Malavani, including beloved classic Jewish songs and American classics. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, it's Thinking Out Loud with Micah Halpern. And that's the JBS News Features Edition, wishing you a happy 4th of July. I'm Teisha Bader.